There was a boy named Ethan Carter who had become very good at hearing one word. No. No to the position he wanted. No to the competition he prepared for. No to the opportunities he thought might finally prove that he was capable of something. And after hearing that word enough times, Ethan began to wonder if maybe everyone else had been right about him. Maybe he was not talented. Maybe he was not special. Maybe he simply was not good enough. But what Ethan did not know was that sometimes rejection is not the end of your story. Sometimes it is the beginning. Everyone seemed to be moving forward. Ethan was a college student who wanted to be good at something. Not famous. Not admired by everyone. He simply wanted to look at himself one day and say, "I did something that I am proud of." So when his university announced an upcoming event, Ethan decided to participate. His first opportunity was hosting. He imagined himself standing on stage, microphone in his hand, confidently introducing guests while hundreds of students watched. He applied. He waited. And then came the answer. Rejected. Ethan smiled when he heard it. It is okay, he told himself. Maybe next time. A few days later, he saw an announcement for an essay competition. He spent hours writing. He researched. He edited. He rewrote paragraphs late into the night. He submitted his essay believing this might finally be his moment. But when the results came, his name was not there. Not first. Not second. Not third. Nothing. Another rejection. Then came the running competition. Ethan was not a professional athlete. But he thought, maybe I can at least prove myself here. So he trained. He ran in the mornings. He pushed himself when his lungs burned. He kept going when his legs felt heavy. The day of the competition arrived. The starting signal sounded. Ethan ran as fast as he could. For a moment, he thought he might actually make it. But when the race ended, he was not the winner. He was not the runner-up either. He had not even made it close. He stood there, breathing heavily, watching other students celebrate. And something inside him quietly broke. Not because he had lost one race, but because it felt like he was losing everything. That evening, Ethan met some of his friends. They started talking about their achievements. One had won a competition. Another had been selected to host an event. Someone else had received recognition for a project. They were not trying to make Ethan feel bad. They were simply talking about their lives. But Ethan sat there quietly, listening, nodding, smiling. And inside his head, one thought kept repeating. What have I done? He went home that night and opened his phone. He saw photographs of his friends receiving certificates, smiling on stages, standing with trophies, being congratulated. He locked his phone. The room became silent. And for the first time, Ethan asked himself, maybe I am just not meant for anything. The next morning, Ethan's best friend Noah Williams noticed something was wrong. Noah had known Ethan for years. He knew the difference between Ethan's normal silence and the silence of someone who had started giving up on himself. Noah sat beside him. What is wrong? Nothing. Ethan. Silence. Finally, Ethan said, everyone is doing something with their lives. Noah looked at him. And you think you are not? I keep trying, Noah. He paused. Nothing works. Noah smiled slightly. Then he said something Ethan would remember for the rest of his life. You are counting your failures like they are evidence against you. Ethan looked at him. Noah continued. They are not evidence that you cannot do it. They are evidence that you are still trying. Ethan did not respond. Noah stood up. Just do not quit before you find out what happens if you keep going. A few weeks later, the university announced another speech competition. Ethan almost ignored the announcement. He had already failed enough times. But something inside him said, try again. So he registered. During rehearsal, Ethan walked onto the stage. He looked at his notes. His hands were shaking. His voice was not strong. He forgot a line. Then another. He finished. The room was quiet. The organizers looked at each other. And then came the words Ethan had heard too many times. "We are sorry, Ethan. You were not selected." He walked off the stage. Again. Another rejection. But this time something was different. He did not cry. He did not blame anyone. He did not go home and quit. He simply sat alone in the hallway. That was when his teacher, Mr. Anderson, found him. Mr. Anderson sat beside him. "You disappointed?" Ethan nodded. "I do not understand," Ethan said. "I try everything. Hosting. Writing. Running. Now this. I keep getting rejected." Mr. Anderson remained silent for a moment. Then he asked, "Ethan, do you know why you are failing?" Ethan looked at him. "Because I am not good enough." Mr. Anderson shook his head. "No. Because you are practicing until you become comfortable." Ethan frowned. Mr. Anderson continued. "You do not need to practice until you are good. You need to practice until failure becomes impossible." Ethan stared at him. Then his teacher said, "Stop trying to prove to everyone that you are talented. Become so prepared that talent does not matter." That sentence changed something inside Ethan. For years, he had been waiting for someone to tell him that he was talented. Now someone was telling him something completely different. Talent was not his problem. He simply had not worked long enough. The next morning, Ethan woke up before sunrise. He practiced his speech. Again. And again. And again. He recorded himself. Watched the recording. Found his mistakes. Practiced his breathing. Worked on his pronunciation. Studied where to pause. Studied where to raise his voice. He practiced in front of a mirror. Then in front of Noah. Then in an empty classroom. Sometimes he practiced until everyone else had already gone home. Days became weeks. His friends went out. Ethan practiced. They relaxed. Ethan practiced. They slept. Ethan practiced. Not because he was obsessed with winning, but because he was tired of being the person who always wondered, "What if I had tried harder?" Finally, the competition arrived. Ethan stood backstage. His heart was racing. He could hear the audience. Hundreds of people. His name was announced. He walked onto the stage. For a second, everything went silent. He looked at the audience. And then he remembered every rejection. The hosting position. The essay competition. The running race. The rehearsal. The hallway. Noah's words. And Mr. Anderson's lesson. He took a breath. And began. His voice was clear. His movements were controlled. Every pause had purpose. Every word carried weight. The room became completely silent. People were listening. They were watching Ethan. And when he delivered his final line, there was a moment of silence. Then the entire room erupted. Applause. People stood. His friends were shouting. Even Mr. Anderson was smiling. Ethan walked off the stage. He did not know what would happen next. But for the first time, he knew he had given everything he had. A few minutes later, the winners were announced. Third place went to someone else. Second place went to another student. Then came first place. The host paused. Looked at the card. And said, "First place goes to Ethan Carter." For a moment, Ethan did not move. He looked at Noah. Noah was already standing. Then Ethan smiled. He walked toward the stage. The same boy who had once sat alone wondering if he was capable of anything was now standing in front of everyone, holding the trophy. But the trophy was not the real victory. The real victory happened weeks earlier. It happened when Ethan decided that one more rejection was not going to decide his future. Maybe you are Ethan right now. Maybe you are watching everyone around you succeed while you are still waiting for your moment. Maybe you have applied. You have tried. You have failed. You have been rejected. And you are beginning to wonder whether you are simply not good enough. But remember, Ethan. Your first rejection does not define you. Your 10th rejection does not define you. Your current situation does not define you. What defines you is what you do after you hear the word no. Because sometimes, the people who look like they're falling behind are actually preparing for the moment when everyone finally sees what they were capable of all along. So if you are struggling right now, do not quit. Practice again. Learn again. Stand up again. And try one more time. Because your story is not over. This is Risebound. Stories that inspire. Lessons that stay.